Hey, David.
Yo, 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 how's it going? GM, everyone.
GM. David, the Arweave architect. What a great article that came out yesterday, man.
Thanks. Shout out to Greg and Only Arweave and Jason, that whole team. They show us a lot of love. Really appreciate them.
It is awesome. And we're excited to have you here today as a speaker. Should be fun.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Hey, Lorimer.
Hey, Ashlyn, how's it going?
Great. How are you doing?
All good. Just had the best coffee of my life. I don't know what it is, but I haven't had one for 4 days, and so this one is just it's like really good. But no, I'm good.
Great. So we have an energized Lorimer here for our X Spaces today. Wonderful. Hey, Tate. How are you?
Hey, Ashlyn, doing well. Probably not. I can never match Lorimer's energy, but feeling good as well.
Great. Good. Well, this will be fun. We have one more speaker joining us today. We have 2 gaming projects represented on the panel today. Always makes for a fun conversation. While we're waiting for people to join, feel free to repost, share the space. Would love for as many people to hop on here and hang out with us. Cool. We'll give it a few more minutes. All right, we have Matt with us. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Great. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, we'll give it another minute or so and then we'll hop into it. Today, as you can see, we are talking all things tokens, tokens in action on the Permaweb specifically. So excited to hop in with this great panel we have here. If you didn't hear, Lorimer has had his coffee. He's energized. I've had my coffee. We're ready to go. Tate has not had coffee, but he says he's feeling good. So we'll try to bring the energy today. All right. Well, let's kick things off here. Hopefully we'll have more people joining us as time goes on. Just a reminder, if you would, repost, share the space, let people know you're here. And, you know, we're going to share a lot of information on tokens, so would love to share this information with as many people as possible. But welcome to everyone here. I'm Ashlyn from Community Labs. Thank you so much for joining our spaces. We have a great panel for you all. We're going to spotlight leading projects in the Permaweb Index and show exactly how their tokens are being used, along with a glimpse of what's coming next. So you're going to hear directly from project founders about the utility of their tokens, how they fit into the broader ecosystem, and how you can start earning them by delegating your AO yield through Wonder. Whether you're already part of the Permaweb community or just curious about token-powered innovation, this session will give you a clear, actionable view of the landscape. And at the end, we'll share how you can start earning these tokens right from Wonder. Like I mentioned, I'm here with an awesome panel of CEOs from 4 different Permaweb Index projects. Some of these faces might be familiar, and for others, this may be your first time hearing from them. So how about before we dive in, I will give you a quick primer on this thing we call the Permaweb Index. So in Arweave and AO ecosystem, the Permaweb Index is a way for projects to launch their tokens fairly. So there's no insider deals or lockups. Funding comes straight from the community that uses them. If a project's in the index, it means that they've embraced this fair launch model and their tokens can be supported directly with your AO yield. So with that context in mind, let's meet our panel. Tate, would you kick us off by introducing yourself?
Happy to, yeah. Thanks for having me, Ashlyn. So my name's Tate, founder and CEO of Community Labs. We are a software development company and venture studio building out and bootstrapping different verticals and areas of Arweave, the Permaweb, and now AO as well. Here today to talk a bit more about Wander, which is the primary wallet app that people use to access other applications in the Arweave ecosystem. Yeah.
Thank you, Tate. Matt, can we have you next?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Matt Mason. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Basejump. We're building a new platform on AO and Arweave where you can create and play and eventually monetize games and game assets. We've just launched our first game in kind of very early open alpha called Broadside Battle Mode. We're really working on that. But under the hood, under it all, we rolled out a token called Action on the Permaweb index in March. And we did that to just sort of get the early community in and align with us on AO and Arweave while we build out this gaming ecosystem that will very eventually require this action token that we're working on in the background. So super excited to be here.
Thanks, Matt. Super excited to have you here. Lorimer, could we have you go next?
Sure. Hey, I'm Lorimer. I am I'm a co-founder of LiquidOps, which is a lending and borrowing protocol built on Arweave and AO. I think our main kind of mission or thesis is that we think there's a lot of value in this ecosystem locked in tokens, and we kind of want to disrupt that value and put it to work in traditional DeFi strategies that has been done before in this ecosystem. For example, utilizing Arweave as collateral, and then plugging, say doing like an arbitrage strategy, borrowing like a stable coin, and then plugging that stable coin into something like the AO pre-bridge. Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Lorimer. Great to have you here as well. And last we have David.
Hey, what's up? I'm David Kong. I'm the co-founder of Stargrid Battle Tactics. We're fully on-chain 1v1 tactical strategy game built on AO and Arweave. Our focus is to bring fully on-chain gaming experiences into like the next generation and have these like really cool, robust gaming experiences that really push the boundaries of what's possible on-chain. Also, we have a token called Space Money. It's really fun, deflationary in-game currency for Stargrid Battle Tactics. And yeah, it's been really cool. So far, we've launched back in late May for public access, and we're currently developing a really cool expansion pack with more characters, more content coming out later this year.
Thanks, David. Like I said, all-star lineup here. Thank you guys all for being here and taking the time to speak with us today on all things tokens. So let's go ahead and jump right into it then. For each project, it would be great if we could dive into the utility of each project's token. Specifically, let's go through the token basics, how it's used today, what's coming next, if you can share anything. And then lastly, how do you earn or get your token? Let's start with Matt from Basejump.
Yeah, sure thing. So Action, we kind of released it early to really support and also take advantage of the amazing idea that was the Permaweb index. Tate and Sam told us about it early on, and we just like, this is really cool. This is something we want to be part of. We weren't planning on launching our token initially this last March when we did, but we really wanted to kind of not support the ecosystem, and it just seemed a really great way for us to de-risk our business a little bit more by having the token out there, earning AO and Action. So we launched the token in March, but then kind of immediately went back to building the game. And that's not because we don't have plans for the token. We have some really big plans for the token. It's more because we need to build a game to build a gaming ecosystem, and the token is really there to serve as the sort of underlying asset that makes the whole gaming ecosystem works. So our whole thesis is, if you have the sort of next version of the internet that is built on game engines, a really important piece of that gamified spatial internet is going to be the game assets that connect everything. And we think these objects that connect worlds and communities are going to be as important as hypertext was on the internet we use today, based on text. So we've been thinking about these game assets as things that we call hyper objects. That's objects, avatars, even full games that connect different worlds, communities, ecosystems, gaming platforms. And all of that really needs to happen on chain, and you need a chain like AO to do something like this. And this is what initially attracted us to the ecosystem. So Action's really a chain that lets you build, create using text prompts, or any other tools you like, or existing tools like Blender or Unity or Unreal. Create game assets and publish them on the Action network, which will allow them to work between lots of different games. It'll let you do lots of things with blockchain technology to make gaming more fun. So, for example, a game asset might do one thing in one world and totally different thing in another. And it can do that because it knows that it's in a different world. It's network aware, it's context aware. But none of this really works without having kind of a token underpinning this. So it's the sort of one use of the Action substrate is really this kind of registry for hyperobjects, which lets you do different things with them. And then the token's also going to do some fairly basic things in the network, like governance. Action is a network where you can create things using AI. We plan on using it to let people pay for compute on the network, or pay for publishing games or worlds or assets directly to Arweave in the Action network. And then the last thing that it does, which is something we've already started, is it has this kind of impact component to it. So we have a partnership with the Rainforest Foundation, and we're currently working with them to protect 4 million acres of real world rainforest. And just off sort of the early tests with Action, the early tests with our game, we're already, I think, at about 2% of that land is protected, which we feel pretty good about because we haven't really done a big marketing push or anything yet. We're still sort of working on the game first and foremost. But yeah, the Action token sort of underpins all of these things we're doing. Is going to be really, really important as we scale. And the only way to get it now is to actually stake your tokens on the Permaweb index and allocate to Action. We will be introducing some other ways to earn it in future. If you have one of our broadside OG avatars, they will all be getting an allocation of Action, among many other things. And other avatars that we're working on, other game assets that will exist on the Action network, will also work as nodes in a similar way, and will be able to earn Action. None will earn quite as much as the broadside OGs, but we're going to announce a kind of next phase of that, with a partnership we're doing with Immutable next week, on a kind of new series of hyper objects we're building with them. So yeah, lots in the kind of future bucket, not much in the sort of right here, right now bucket, except you can earn Action now. But myself and the team, we've been in blockchain a long time. We've been in Web3 gaming for a good few years now, and we've just seen so many Web3 gaming projects launch a token, and then that token just instantly flatlines because a bunch of people who weren't interested in their game bought it just to sell it. And we are absolutely not going to do that. We are not going to launch this token until we really see lots of people using our network and see real demand for a decentralized token within that network. So we're in absolutely no rush. So if you want to buy a token, flip it quickly and make a profit, Action is not for you. If you like the sound of what we're doing, you believe in sort of the open, permissionless future of decentralized gaming, definitely give the white paper a look.
That's awesome. Lots of things coming. Yeah, you guys are super busy. And I love this idea of hyper objects. And I guess for our listeners, Matt, could you elaborate on those a little more? Like, are they avatars? Are they rewards? Are they both? Like, yeah, what is a hyper object?
Yeah, a hyperobject can really be anything on the Action Network. Like we eventually plan to make all of our in-game currency, which is a currency called Bones, tokens on the Action Network. So you can tokenize anything really with it. We're thinking about avatars, in-game items, and game worlds as sort of the first things and the sort of primary use case. But eventually, when we think further out with this, like we want people to create worlds and levels, and that's the kind of first thing we're building now. You should start to be able to generate levels with text prompts in our first game. We're aiming for October with that, and that'll be the sort of, I guess, the sort of finished alpha version of our game. Um, and that's the sort of primary use case. Like, can you publish a game? Can you publish all the items in it? But the step after that is, okay, do you want to put your own token inside the game that you've just made? All of those, making a network that makes that possible as well. We think the idea of Web3 gaming is going to get a lot bigger and become a lot more kind of digestible to normie gamers who so far have kind of balked at the idea of a lot of the things in Web3 gaming, and kind of understand why like sort of fun is often put on the back burner, or at least was in the sort of first generation of Web3 gaming projects that we saw, and really attracted an audience that was there more to kind of farm something, and that's fine. And I don't think that behavior is going to go away, but I think there's some middle ground between gamers who don't like blockchain at all because they think it's all a casino and just sort of hyper focused farming, but having games that actually do reward players and are actually fun, games like Stargrid Battle, for example, I think is the future, like where people are really understanding both worlds and trying to build something that can appeal to everybody.
Definitely. And there's so much to explore coming up with what you guys are doing. And I think it's really awesome how, all this also connects to like a real world issue with the rainforest, and how you're getting your community involved with that is really, really great. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for those insights. Perhaps we have Lorimer go next. Lorimer, would you mind telling us about your token?
Sure. Yeah. So essentially, we have a native token called LQD. So yeah, LiquidOps tokens kind of are in two parts. So the first part, we have governance. So for example, a real world example, right now, we are considering listing some new tokens. So how do we do that? So we obviously need to essentially like create the token its own pool, add it to something in the LiquidOps network called the controller, to be able to be used as collateral, so borrowers and lenders can actually use it globally in the protocol. So essentially it's like who adds that. So right now, as we're in mainnet beta, it's really obviously developers, our devs, that add that. But what we want to do is obviously bring the community into it, as well as like even just last night I was talking with someone on Twitter. Right now, wrapped Arweave on LiquidOps is you can't borrow it, and the reason why is because all of the wrapped Arweave lenders that I've spoken to would much prefer to keep the AO 4% airdrop that they're earning. So I was talking with someone on Twitter, and they're like, "Well, can you not just make another pool?" And it's like, "Yeah, 100% can." Like, so let's just do that. But I initially didn't think that. What I'd much prefer is if are the people that actually hold the LQD token can vote on this. So I think as soon as we're kind of ready to with these new tokens that we want to list, the LQD token, you'll be able to vote on which tokens you want to add. You'll be able to vote on, say, if it can be used in borrowing. You'll be able to vote on like the interest rate. So yeah, the half of the LQD token is really just governance for the protocol. So then the other half, which we're quite proud of, is our revenue allocation strategy. So with lending and borrowing protocols, obviously, how the kind of business model of most of them is that, say someone lends Arweave on a lending protocol, where the interest comes from, that people can earn, in a supply rate, is via borrowers paying a fee for borrowing that token to do various different, financial operations with that. So in exchange for this, essentially, the protocol charges right now a 10% fee for that privilege, as well as I think an additional 5% goes to our insurance fund. So yeah, it's like, okay, so now we're collecting fees as a protocol. Who gets them? What do we do with them? So our revenue allocation strategy essentially works off two parts. So 50% of the fees that the protocol earns goes to buybacks of the LQD token, and then the other 50% goes to staking rewards from, say, if you hold LQD, you can have the option to stake your tokens into our governance module, and then in exchange back you'll be able to get staking rewards, which are the fees of the protocol. So yeah, we've modeled this off of Sky. I think they have, to be honest, the best revenue allocation like I've seen for a DeFi protocol. So yeah, two parts: governance as well as allocating revenue.
Thanks, Lorimer. You laid those two parts out really nicely. I appreciate that. I know you've talked a lot about community building for LiquidOps. How do you think the fair launch model has impacted how you look at building community?
Yeah. I was looking the other night on who holds the token. So essentially, we've just I think it was on the I think it was the 1st of August or like around then. That's when we initially launched our fair launch. And yeah, so yeah, like the other day I was looking through the wallets hold the token, and it's really interesting that lots of the people that interact with me on Twitter are the same people that hold the token, and it's some of these people I've like, I see they like our stuff, and like they sometimes leave comments and stuff, and I reply, but I've never spoken to any of them properly. And so yeah, like us being so early stage and essentially only just launching the Permaweb index, like it allows us to have these people that wouldn't usually get access to being able to say do the traditional route of like raising funds and then selling it to investors. Like the people that are actually interacting with me on Twitter, that I really have never spoken to, are actually able to earn LQD. And I think it's not like the the amount that they're earning is not substantial. I think that's one of the powers of the Permaweb index, is that people, it's kind of like a level playing field. Everyone earns the kind of same interest in LQD. It's really just dependent on how much they delegate. So yeah, it's really cool to see like the people that interact with our protocol each day, and now one of like the really early people to be able to share in the in the LQD distributions. So I think for us building a community, we really want our community to hold obviously our token. We don't want, like I think Matt Mason was saying, what's the word? I think it's like I think you call it like a cyber attack. But when you have like lots of people try and farm a protocol, like that's kind of everyone's worry as a crypto founder. So yeah, like the Permaweb index offering us the chance to be able to actually distribute our token to the people that are in our community, and us not even have to do it. It's not like I've had to like email everyone and like pitch them individually. They can literally just go onto ao.arweave.dev, delegate Arweave to LiquidOps, and then instantly start sharing in the distributions.
Definitely. This is why we think delegation is so important. To your point, putting it puts everyone on equal footing, builds community, all the things. I appreciate that insight. Thank you. David, would love to hear more about space money and what you're doing with Stargrid Battle Tactics.
Yeah, absolutely. So space money for us is something that from the get-go, we wanted to directly link to the game experience. We wanted everyone to think of space money as a mechanism that drives them back into the game and like motivates them to keep on playing. And the way we do that is through a number of kind of design elements. And, I'm really privileged to be kind of incubated by Forward Research. And so I have conversations with Sam Williams. And one of the things that he always emphasizes in architecture of systems is elegance, right? Like simplicity that drives to like really clean outcomes. So I took a lot of his experiences to heart when coming up with the tokenomics of space money. So first off, recognizing the Permaweb index as like this very unique opportunity to drive revenue without needing to like dump tokens onto our community, right?
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Like, which is typically how it has been done in crypto in so many other instances. There's like many times this kind of fundamental misalignment or conflict of interest between founders and their token holders, because traditionally the only way you make money off your token is you reserve 40% of the supply for your team. And then when the time is right and it's all vested, you just dump it all, right? So that's not good for your community. And so the Permaweb Index gave us this very unique and innovative way to align ourselves with people who truly are invested into the long-term development of Stargrid, and at the same time drives revenue for us in one of many possible ways. And I think that like tokenomics generally for games are kind of like the sandbox of an unlimited number of business models. And so what we've tried to do here with Space Money is admittedly it's kind of a fun experiment, right? And it's definitely not our last one. But right now, what you can do with Space Money is you can buy a battle pass, which allows you to play a certain number of ranked matches every day. And how the game works is that every ranked match that you win, you earn some more space money. And it's a cap supply token, so maximum supply of 20 billion. And all the space money that is spent on battle passes is burned. So the team doesn't keep any of that. In the future, we're planning new characters. So all these new characters will be unlockable with space money as well. So that means that also all the money spent on these new characters is also burned. So you can imagine then that the more new characters we add and the more popular the game becomes, this burn mechanism scales up. The other interesting component is after we hit certain thresholds of supply, there's halvings for the token issuance. So right now, if you're a bronze 1 player and you win a match, you get 450 space money tokens. As soon as we hit 50% of supply issued, that gets cut in half. So bronze 1 players get 225, and that scales all the way up for the rest of the reward distributions. So the token gets harder and harder to earn over time, and a burn mechanism scales with its popularity. So that means that from the get-go, it's like the easiest to earn the token at the beginning. Like, so the easiest time to obtain space money has already passed, which is kind of a fun fact, right? Like if you're really early to the game and you've been grinding, you know that like the rate that you've been earning is much higher than people will have access to in the future. And so this is all tied to the popularity and the fun of the game itself. So what that does to us as developers is that we must optimize for this game being fun, right? So it's like a really cool way to align ourselves with outcomes that are beneficial to everyone, rather than optimizing for something that increases the price of the token. We've only reserved 3% of the total supply for the team, and we've promised to spend that 3% on ambassadors, tournament winnings, marketing campaigns. So there's actually no way for us to profit off of the token itself. In that way, the only outcome that we're really motivated to bring about is to create a really, really fun game. So yeah, and that's the idea behind Space Money. Now, one thing that really inspires me is I look at a lot of traditional success stories in gaming, and I imagine, what if like world-class, smash hit games had tokens? I think about like one of my favorite games of all time, The Witcher 3, right? Like that had global success. But before The Witcher 3, there was also The Witcher 1 and 2, which were like much less successful. And I think like, okay, if all those games had tokens, the token for The Witcher 3 would be worth like several $1 billion, and the other two might be worth much less. So we're taking all of this information that we're getting from Space Money and the Permaweb Index, and we're definitely looking towards the future as well, right? Like we think that if we're continue to be successful with Stargrid, we continue growing the player base, that our team becomes a gaming studio that essentially makes many more titles. And this model, right, that aligns player outcomes with the team's outcomes, eventually it hits. Maybe we have our Witcher 3 moment, right? This could be something that really sets the standard for this industry going forward. That's our most ambitious goal. But yeah, don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. Right now, it's battle passes and unlocking new characters.
And can I just say that Space Money is such a cool name for a token? That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really, it was like tongue in cheek, right? Because when we were formulating the name, we were like, we wanted to avoid any kind of regulatory concerns, and we thought it'd be funny if, like, during our disclaimer, we were just like, "Space money is not real money." So that was like our tagline for advertising token. But yeah, thanks a lot.
That's great. That's great. Well, Tate, would you mind rounding us off and giving us some insight into the Wonder token?
Happy to, yeah. So I'll try and keep this pretty short, because I think someone earlier here, it might have been David, was talking through these mechanisms when they're elegant, generally tend to have better outcomes. So we've done everything that we can to be elegant with ours as well. Before I get into this, let me just preface, nothing that I'm about to say, and also nothing that anyone else has said so far, should be considered investment advice. Do your own research. We're not here trying to convince people to buy things. In most cases, you can't even buy them on the market. So, just want to put that out there. For Wander, really, the motivation came from a place of, we have pretty much everyone in the ecosystem using applications through Wander. Most people that hold Arweave hold it inside of Wander. We're incredibly grateful that the community has really just kind of surrounded us. And so then the question became, well, what can we do to actually provide more and start returning value, and creating ways for people to circulate what's actually being created there with Wander itself. And candidly, transparently, also, Wander is an open source product. It's a public good, and we wanted to find ways to help sustain the team in the process of continuing to build out Wander and make it better. And so obviously the default option is there, and that's like launch a token, sell to VCs, dump on retail. That was not favorable, clearly. What was much more interesting to us was the direction that Ford Research decided to go with the Permaweb index. The reason why we were interested in it was because really two primary things. The first would be offering people exposure that were actual community members to the projects that they believed in, or were using themselves. So again, like no selling to insiders. The second would be, you know, really anybody can get involved, and it's an even distribution. Everyone plays by the same rules. So with that in mind, we've created the Wander token, and we have it fair launched on the Permaweb index, and it comes with a few benefits. What we did was we created a tier system. So the more tokens you hold in comparison to everyone else, that defines what your tier is. You can almost think of it as like an airline tier or like a loyalty tier for a hotel. But the difference is, instead of suite upgrades, we can give you discounts on fees. We can give you access to exclusive features inside of Wander. And then thanks to everyone on this call, actually, that's Lorimer, David, Matt. I even see, like, I think Ario's here, a bunch of other people. We can also offer Wander token holders exclusive features and benefits inside of partner applications. So if you're a user of Stargrid, or if you're a user of LiquidOps, or if you're a user of Basejump, being able to offer you benefits that you can only get as a Wander token holder. So we're really excited, because I think that this is one of those things where, we tried to do as much as we could to ground the token in utility. And Wander would be nothing without its community. And so it's really cool that that everyone in the community, including application developers and builders, have been interested and open to working with us to extend that utility beyond Wander itself as an application or as an extension. But yeah, I would say that's probably the TLDR on the Wander token, and the motivation for it.
Thanks, Tate. Like Tate mentioned, we're really excited about the Wonder Partner Program, where we're able to offer benefits to tier holders through partners. Just to highlight some that are already announced, USDA beta access is open to Reserve, Edge, and Prime members. And we're actually announcing our second partnership next week, and many others in time. But would love for David to give us some insight as to what that could be starting next week.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ashlyn. Just want to say shout out to the whole Wander team. We're really, really excited to be partnering and offering all the Wander token holders in select tiers, in specific tiers, free access to the Stargrid Battle Pass for the rest of the summer. So what that means is usually to get the Stargrid Battle Pass, you need to spend space money. If you delegate to Wander, you don't even need to do that. You can log into Stargrid and play ranked matches for free immediately for the rest of the summer. And we'll be releasing some details early next week on exactly how to experience that and, the dates and all that kind of stuff.
We're super pumped about that. Thank you, David. And yeah, like I mentioned, there's many more of these coming. I don't want to tease too many too soon. I get a little ahead of myself and excited, but yeah, very pumped about this. Well, thank you all. I think that is some really great info. It's great to hear how each of these tokens is, building community around each of these projects, and really putting users first. You all shared a lot of great insights, but let's boil it down to one clear takeaway for each project. So here's the question that everyone probably wants answered. If someone gets your token, say tomorrow, what's the very first thing they should do with it? Maybe we can make this like a rapid fire round. Who wants to go first?
I could go first. If you get the action token tomorrow, forget all about it and go and play Broadside Battle Mode or Basejump and let us know if the game's fun. That's all that matters.
Awesome. Yes, definitely.
I'll go next. If you get space money, hop into Stargrid and buy yourself a battle pass while they're still cheap.
Definitely.
Lorimer?
I think, yeah, I was waiting here. I think with LiquidOps, if you got the LQD token, what do you want from LiquidOps? Owning just one token enables you to, add whatever you want to the protocol. What would you like?
And then finally, if you get the Wander token, I would say the best thing you can do is start using applications and games in the ecosystem and seeing what benefits you get for holding it.
Okay, you all heard it here. I think it's time to start earning some project tokens. And I know the next question is, well, how do I do that? Tate, as one of our Wonder representatives, would you mind walking our audience through how they can start earning today using Wonder?
Totally. So we're really excited because now you can actually, let me log into Wander. I forgot my password. Perfect timing for that. Now you can actually delegate to Fair Launch projects from directly inside of Wander itself. So you don't have to go to any other websites. Obviously, you're welcome to go to ao.arweave.net or .dev or any of the REO gateways to delegate directly. But now we have an Earn tab inside of the Wander browser extension. And on that Earn tab, you'll find the projects that you've already delegated to. And you'll also find the standard AO as an option, the Permaweb index as an option, and soon Arweave as an option as well. From this tab, you can choose what projects you want to delegate to. You can click Manage Earnings and then Add Token in the Projects tab, and basically set your preferences. The way this works is essentially if you're holding Arweave tokens or you've deposited assets into the pre-bridge on Ethereum, you essentially have this stream of AO tokens that are right now being directed to your wallet, but through the Earn tab, you can choose to delegate or direct that stream of AO tokens to other projects in exchange for that project's token. And it's as simple or as complex as you want it to be. You can change your allocations at any point. You can reallocate to projects that you've unallocated from, and you can even have 1% in one project and 99% in another. So it's super flexible depending on what you want. But in general, one thing, if you're not sure where to go, is probably just delegating to the Permaweb index. Again, not financial advice, but you can think of the Permaweb index as an index of Arweave, AO, and all of the project's tokens. So by delegating to the Permaweb index, you get exposure to everything in the ecosystem. Conversely, if you really liked what Lorimer was talking about as it goes to, as it relates to LiquidOps, you can delegate directly to LQD on that dashboard as well.
Thank you, Tate. And thank you to Matt, Lorimer, David. We're grateful for all the insights you've given our listeners and really appreciate the time you've taken today to be here. I think we have some time for a few questions. If anyone in our audience does have questions, please feel free to request the mic. We'll bring you up here and we'll try to answer a couple questions. Or if people want to put them in the comments section, happy to take those on as well. None? Going once? Twice? Okay, well, for our listeners, oh, we do have one request. Look at that. Hello, thank you for joining us. What is your question?
First of all, I jumped in a little late, so I may have missed this part, but I want to ask this question anyway. So for fair launch tokens, how can just regular teams that are trying to build in this space benefit from launching their own fair launch tokens? I'm just a little curious.
Great question.
I'm actually going to forward this to Matt, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot. I think Matt could give a good insight here because Matt's, I think, a great example of someone that has done this and might have a good perspective on why he decided to.
Yeah, thanks, Tate. Yeah, it's a great question. For us, it was just it was a chance to start getting our token into the hands of early supporters before the token needed to be like really out there trading, all of that stuff, which comes with its own set of opportunities and potential headaches, especially if you do it too early. But because the Arweave community is so tight knit and so engaged, it really just sort of spoke to us as a good thing to do, a way to kind of further decentralize everything we were doing and further integrate ourselves into this ecosystem, which was still pretty new to, and a way to give our existing community an opportunity to hold the action token before we were really pushing it anywhere at what we think is a great valuation. So it's a way to kind of bring in early supporters without the sort of headache of doing like a full on TGE. It's definitely sort of, I think, the best of both worlds. I think those are the pros of it. The other side of it is you do have to still market it. You have to talk about it. You have to do things like this. You have to be out there telling people they can get your token and why they should want your token. And you know that may be a distraction from what you're actually trying to build, but it's much less of. I think it's a much smarter way to do something early with the token than just like, you know, doing a TGE straight up while you're still trying to find product market fit, because that will really distract you from what you're trying to do. But look, so far for us, it's been a really positive experience. It's definitely increased our runway as a startup. We know the community that's holding. It's really aligned with us, and it's a community we want to build with, and we want to grow with. Like everybody in this room, all these founders that I know and have been working with. It's just really nice to be kind of part of this with everybody here, and it still feels to me like the whole Arweave AO ecosystem is just this place in crypto that I think at some point everybody else is going to find, and there'll be this mad rush in, because it's a special place. It's really incredible technology, and sort of everybody here is really building with that kind of long-term vision for the future in mind. So it's just a way to kind of be part of all of that and further commit yourself to all of that without having to worry about, you know, some chart every day which may not be related to what you're trying to build. Anyway, I'll stop talking in case anyone else has got more to say on this, but cannot recommend it highly enough as a thing to do.
Thanks, Matt.
I think another thing from a project's perspective is like, you know, like when you're pitching people, say you, I don't know, say you're building a DEX. Let's just say that. Say you're building a DEX. The kind of normal way you do it is you'd set out like a deck. You know, you'd say, oh, you know, what do I want to do, right? I want to build a DEX. I want to hire, you know, this many people, and you set out a business plan. You figure out a budget, and then you'd go and try and convince investors to invest in that project. So like, you know, it's quite hard to pitch investors being early stage. So, you know, as an early stage project, like you're looking for ways to be able to find people who believe in your mission, and then also find people that believe in it enough to actually put their money into this idea. Say if you're building a DEX, and it's hard. It's possible to do, but it's hard to do, and a lot of people's time when you're trying to just build something is obviously spent on investor relations. So basically, when you when you launch a project in the Permaweb index, it's really de-risked for like investors, for anyone who wants exposure to your project, to actually say like, you know, delegate to it, kind of invest in it, be able to, so you can get funding as a project, and then that person can get tokens from your project. The reason why is because if you hold Arweave tokens, like so many of these investors do, they're earning AO, and so even if they've got like a little bit of Arweave, and you know they're earning this AO, due to the fact that whenever the AO is delegated to the Pi, I think it's tripled and it's given back in Pi tokens. You can find like someone with not a large amount of liquidity and turn that liquidity like into basically an angel check. Like, and so from everyone's perspective, it's de-risked. From like the investor's perspective, they're already earning this thing on top of the thing that they already own. You don't have to convince them to give like the underlying assets, so it's kind of future rewards. And then those future rewards are like tripled. And so yeah, you can take someone who, or like a community, for example, let alone just not even someone, say a community like, you know, we're doing with our fair launch. Like so many people have just been following us on Twitter, and now they're delegating their assets. It's like you can take a community that's really early stage, that doesn't have to be, you know, $100 million fund managing partner. That could be just a few people actually in a community, and then take the liquidity that they have, be able to triple it, and then obviously issue back rewards, and then you can get funding. So like being a really early stage founder, it's kind of just like a magic ticket towards funding, but then also building a community, and spending as little time as possible actually having to pitch people, and instead just building, which is at the end of the day what it's all about.
Great point. Thank you, Lorimer. Do we have any other questions? All right, I think that's it. For our listeners, I encourage you to follow each of these projects and these founders up here on on this panel. Stay connected with them and other Permaweb index projects in the ecosystem as well. Also a reminder, open up your Wonder Wallet today and check out the delegations feature on the Earn tab, like Tate was running through. Just open up your Wonder Wallet today and check your token balance. There's been a lot of new features that we're adding. We're really excited about that. Super pumped about the delegation feature because we get to talk more about all the awesome Permaweb index projects and talk about ways that we can support them as well. Like Tate mentioned during the space, none of this is financial advice. Do your own research. But thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you all next time.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.